Welcome to the show once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again. Fashionably late. Not sure I even had a chance to do a voice check, but didn't want to leave you hanging too long. I took a long lunch. Yeah, lunch was a little bit longer than I expected it to be, but we were only 2 minutes late. So all the big shots out there do that. They leave their audience hanging. I try not to. If anything, I usually start early because I don't want to leave my many viewers hanging. And here we already have Marquise passing through. Thank you very much for showing up today. And this is quite a broadcast, the only way to spend your Saturday here with us on the Johnny Torch program. This is Torch News Roundup number 200. Oh, yes. The 200th broadcast. We've brought you... Gosh, how long has it been? 3 years now? I think we started in July, I believe, of, was it 2018? I'm not sure. But we finally got to 200 episodes. Big broadcast for you today, ladies and gentlemen, on the only way to spend your Saturday here with us on the Johnny Torch program. First order of business, we've got to point you in the direction of my website, The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye. Please check it out. Link is in the description below. And we already went through the new panels that we released yesterday, or I should say last week. So if you haven't seen those new panels yet, look at last week's episode and get caught up on some of the new panels that have been revealed, or you could check the link on Twitter. You can find our Twitter page and the link in the description below, and I reposted them as well there. So check it out. I'm really excited about this because we're getting closer to completing this book. It's going to be a little whiles off still. I think it's going to be about a good month before I'm ready to send these files in to, I got to send them to the editor first and then to the printer. So probably not looking at getting these things to the printer till at least June, possibly late June, depending on how long it takes me. I've got about 8 more pages left to do, and then I've got to take a look at it and see. I already checked out these things. I think I already did the coming attractions page, so to speak. I usually have to put one of those together, and I haven't done that yet either. So again, we got a little ways to go still, but check out the link in the description below for The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye. It's an all-ages action-adventure series. I'm going to have problems here because I've been drinking Pepsi instead of water. I always drink water when I'm doing a broadcast. Now, the Pepsi's not going to agree with me, so I apologize. I just had lunch, that's why. Anyhow, I thought I could sneak it in. I had 20 minutes to go from the time I put the thing together, the video together, to the time I had to broadcast. I thought I could fit it in. So anyway, apologies if my voice is not quite up to snuff. But anyway, check out the link in the description below for The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye. And we are going to start off today's show, which we always like to do. Whenever anybody leaves a comment, we like to address it here on the show. And we call that our mailbag segment. So we've got a mailbag segment today. And let me take a look at some of the comments. And thank you very much. That's nice to hear. I like comments on my voice being cute. That's always fun to hear. All right, so next up we've got a mailbag. This is a comment left on my Phantom of the Opera video, one of my most popular videos. It was a review I did of Claude Rains' version, the 1941 remake of the classic Lon Chaney film, Phantom of the Opera. He left a pretty lengthy comment, but I'm going to read it all because I always read all my comments. Let's see. He says, also, it didn't show him getting back at the woman who disfigured him, unless it happened off screen. That's true. That's the only, as far as I know, that's the only film version of Phantom of the Opera where they show him getting disfigured. But yeah, he never got revenge on that woman. That's kind of interesting. The unmasking scene was placed at the end of the movie, and there was too much opera and not enough Phantom. That's what I said as well in my review. I like the 1962 version with Herbert Lom and the ALW version. I'm not sure what the ALW version is. Herbert Lom, I think I've seen that one. That's the Hammer version, correct? Yeah. It was okay, if I remember correctly. It didn't leave a big impression on me, but in addition, I know they only used colored water and Rains didn't really get hurt. It was only acting. I felt this was one of the most disgusting scenes I ever saw in a movie. Yeah, the result, of course, quite shocking what it did to his face. That is until Hammer Films came along with their use of blood and gore in their movies. Also, now there's these slasher films which try to pass off as horror movies. I'm not a particular fan of slasher movies either. I think he's talking about Friday the 13th and Halloween and, all these films that basically have to deal with just people getting decapitated and so forth. That to me is not horror, really. I don't really like those films, but I digress. They make the gory movies that Hammer made seem tame. In addition, whenever I think of Christine, I think of Mary Phillip, Susanna Foster, Heather Sears, and Sarah Brightman. And although Rains was great as the Phantom, and he was great, I thought that was a great performance. I thought you really got a sense, like I said, of the sort of, you had empathy for him, I think, more than you did for many other actors that played the Phantom. What would have happened if Boris Karloff or Lon Chaney Jr. had portrayed him? That's interesting. I can kind of see Karloff playing the Phantom. I don't know about Lon Chaney Jr. He was a consummate actor, of course, Lon Chaney Jr. I'm a big fan of his because I think his Wolfman is probably the best. I would say the best Universal monster. I'll go that far in saying that. But he played Son of Dracula, and although he was good in it, it's like nobody was going to forget Bela Lugosi's version. I think the same would happen here. I think if he tried to play Phantom, I think people would probably not cotton to it very well. But Karloff did do a similar character, I believe, in Charlie Chan Goes to the Opera, where it was I haven't seen it in a while. I actually have the DVDs behind me right here of the Charlie Chan series, and I love those films, but I haven't seen them in a while. I got to find time to go and sit through them. But he did a character which was an opera singer that was trying to, and I believe his daughter was. I probably just ruined the mystery. I don't know, but anyhow, check out if you want to see what Boris Karloff might have done with Phantom of the Opera. Check out Charlie Chan Goes to the Opera. Let's see. He also goes on to say Universal had originally planned to remake it in the 30s, but they planned on having Karloff or a famous opera star whose name is unknown to me play the Phantom. Although I always felt the latter would have been a bad choice. Also, as I previously stated, I like this version, but I wish this version and the 62 version followed the book more closely. He also adds, I'm glad they took out the fact that the Phantom was originally Christine's father. Now, that was something I didn't like about it as well. I don't like the way they were trying to lead to that in the film, but then they kind of like in the last minute rewrites, they kind of took it out. I read in a book about movie remakes that it was Rain's idea to remove the father-daughter relationship. Good for him. And yeah, I would say that was, that should have been removed entirely. I think it's kind of still in the background there because that's the reason why you don't have this big romantic relationship between the Phantom and Christine in this version. So kind of a lengthy look at Phantom of the Opera here. But like I said, I read all the comments that I receive. Thank you, Michael Hughes, for making this comment. He says he made these comments 2 days ago. Oh, and he has another comment as well. He says, that's not how it was in the book or the classic 1925 version, which I feel was better than the remakes. Yes, very, very much. It was kind of a dark romance, and you kind of killed that in the 1941 version where you took out that element and they suggested that maybe Christine was his daughter and not, his potential love. So once again, thank you for the comments, Michael Hughes. And we've got another one here, another comment on my Wonder Woman video. Let's see. I lost it. Here we go. Let me see. I had it here somewhere. Let me just take a second to pull up my comments again. All right, here it is. David Black made a comment on my Wonder Woman retrospective. He said, "Thank you, Johnny, because these are also my favorite episodes too." So he's talking about I made a list of 5 episodes in each season that I liked. Although actually the first season, I didn't really make them a 5-episode list. I just said I basically liked, the origin, and I think the feminine mystique. Those are like 4 episodes, and I didn't really put in a 5th. But, that first season was cool, but you could tell they always have, like, whenever a season, or whenever a series starts, the first season is always on shaky footing. And I think Wonder Woman was no exception. I think it took them a while to get their grounding, and I think that happened better in the second and third seasons of the show. Of course, the first season had the World War II trappings, which was, that made it unique, and it was fun. He also comments, "I had a light bright when I was a kid. Yes, I am 52 years old and proud of it." Well, I'm not quite that old, but thank you for leaving those comments. I used to enjoy my light bright when I was a kid, though, but they still have them nowadays. It's not completely passe, because I still see them in the toy aisles. And hopefully my little nephew will play with one when he gets of age. His birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks. Technically in a couple of months, I guess, about a month and a half. But I don't think he's quite ready for that yet. He'll be 2 years old. So thank you, David Black and Michael Hughes, for the comments. And as I always said, whenever anybody leaves a comment, I try my level best to read it. I might miss a couple of them because, I get a lot of comments, and I try to keep up with them. Sometimes I might miss them, so apologies if I ever miss any. All right, let's see. We'll start the show proper. The Torch News Roundup, big 200th episode. And the first story we have here, let's see, I got to bring up the images because that's half the fun. All right, The Flash has commenced production in England. Cameras have started rolling, and it's now been confirmed that the DC Comics adaptation will be taking us to a familiar location. This was to be expected, but as you can see below, the production has arrived at Burley House in Peterborough, England, the same location that was used for Wayne Manor in Batman 1989. We don't know whether any time is supposed to have passed since the events of Batman Returns, but Bruce Wayne's home clearly hasn't fallen into a state of disrepair. I imagine some time must have passed, right? How are they going to explain Michael Keaton looking older? Are they going to try to do one of those, transmogrifying is making him look younger like they do in the Marvel movies? I don't know. The concept art revealed last year pointed to Michael Keaton's Batman being the same age, while other reports have indicated he's set to portray an older Dark Knight. Despite comments from Keaton that he might be unable to reprise the role of Batman due to travel restrictions, Warner Brothers was clearly able to get something sorted out, as it's been confirmed he will reprise his most iconic role. And as I've said, I'm not the biggest fan of Batman 89 or Batman Returns because I'm not a big fan of the killing Batman. But I really was impressed with Michael Keaton's Batman back in the day, and I still think he is probably... Well, in the modern era, I think Christian Bale kind of probably had maybe a little bit of a better take on the character. But his Batman Bruce Wayne, I don't think was very bad. The problem I've always had with the Batman is when he's monotone and doesn't speak, and I think that was a problem that began in the first Batman film. In Batman Returns, they opened him up a little bit because he interacts with Catwoman and so forth. But, I'm looking forward to seeing him return. And hopefully he will be in action. Yes, it looks lovely, doesn't it? I didn't know that castle was in England, to be totally honest with you. I always thought that was just, Hollywood movie magic, so to speak. All right, so let's check out our next story. Let's see. We've got some set photos of the Hawkeye series. Jeremy Renner has been working on a Hawkeye spin-off series for Disney Plus's MCU series of television streaming service projects. And this has been kind of on the back burner. I really haven't been paying attention. Maybe there's been more info out. All I know is Haley Stanfield is playing, I believe it's been confirmed now, she's playing the what's her name? Bishop Hawkeye, the one that he hands the mantle to, because apparently that's what we're doing now with every single superhero. Every superhero's identity is a mantle that needs to be passed to some other more willing, more deserving, more honorable person. I don't know. Hawkeye has finished shooting, but a newly surfaced set photo has now offered a first look at Jeremy Renner decked out in a comic-accurate purple costume. Well, it's about time now, isn't it? Yeah, right? I mean, now this is his swan song. Now they're going to put him in the costume. Now, this isn't the purple costume from the comic books, but it's one fans of Matt Fraction and David Adge's Hawkeye run will surely appreciate. This is an interesting new look for the actor, one many fans will agree is long overdue. If nothing else, it seems Marvel Studios is beginning to embrace the look of these characters in the source material as we head into Phase 4. While we're not currently sure where this photo originated, Renner is photographed alongside Echo actress Aliqua Cox. It looks like she might have markings on her face, or it could be just the lighting. Fans of the comics will surely recognize the logo on her chest as being a nod to what Maya Lopez wears on the page. So again, are you looking forward to the Hawkeye series? I know that there's a lot of people trying to cancel Jeremy Renner, so I have a feeling that there's going to be quite the hoopla once the show finally does hit the airwaves, so to speak. But I like the guy. I hope that he can make the most of it. This is kind of, I guess, his swan song, his last moment in the sun, so to speak. So let's wish him the best. Okay. Let's see. I love castles built on rocks, says Marquise. Yeah, that's cool. That's one of the best places to build them. All right, so let's see. Next up, we have, what is this now? This just broke. This news just broke moments ago. Before we, I got another old friend here showing up, Hunter Iggy. Hey, man, haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you again. Thanks for showing up. Alrighty. We've got more set photos. Now, this just broke like moments before I did the broadcast. We've got set photos of Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel has been shooting, I believe, for some time now, but we really didn't get a look at the actress in costume. This is pretty cool. All right, so Ms. Marvel has arrived as Just Jared has shared a series of photos from the set of the upcoming Marvel Studios series, featuring our first look at star Iman Vellani, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, in costume as the title character Kamala Khan. We first saw Vellani suit up in what appeared to be a homemade Captain Marvel costume in November. This is our first look at her actual comic-inspired costume, which understandably gets its own MCU twist. Presumably the outfit she'll wear when she returns in Captain Marvel 2, November 2022. So yeah, I don't remember if I covered that, but I think that's official now, where Ms. Marvel is going to be in Captain Marvel 2. Again, I'm not really a fan of this character. I don't really care. So I am impressed, though, that she's wearing something that looks like the comic book representation of the character. They're at least trying. They're putting some effort into it. And I am very happy about that. Let's see. Production on the 6-episode series is still ongoing, but it's expected to wrap relatively soon. The directing duo of Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fala, Charmin Obid Chinoy, and Mira Minan have all been confirmed as directors on the project. Again, apologies if I'm butchering those names. I have no idea. I've never heard them spoken, so I don't know. With Valeni as the headliner, the supporting cast consists of Aramis Knight as Karim Red Dagger, Sigar Sika as Amir Khan, Rish Shah as Cameron, Zinbia Sharaf as Minba Khan. This is fun. Mohan Kapoor as Yusuf Khan, Matt Lintz as Bruno Caparelli, I don't know. Yasmin Fletcher. Where else can you find this kind of quality broadcasting? Nowhere else. Yasmin Fletcher as Nakaya Badar, Life Nikle as Sheikh Abdullah, Travina Springer as Taisha Hillman, and Laurel Marsden as Zoe Zimmer. Phew, that was a workout. Additionally, there's more. Azar Usman, Nimra Butcher, Randy Havens, Alicia Reiner, Angeli Bahimi, Ali Khan, Samina Ahmed, and Bollywood star Farhan Akhtar have been cast in undisclosed roles. Ms. Marvel is tentatively scheduled to launch exclusively on Disney Plus in late 2021. So we are all looking forward to that one, I guess. Does she always wear tennis shoes, though, or is that just... I know, like I said, I don't really read the comics of Ms. Marvel. I really don't care about the character. I have the Avengers video game, which I just barely touched since I've got it. And she's supposed to have a big role in that game, I guess. So I'm going to try to, check it out eventually when I have the time. All right, so let's see. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you looking forward to Ms. Marvel? Are you looking forward to Captain Marvel 2? And just let me know what you think about that costume. All right, so let's see. This is a fun little story. I always, because I'm such a Harley Quinn fan and Margot Robbie, I had to bring this story in about Harley Quinn. I don't know, though. I don't like, honestly, personally, I don't like when they have a beautiful woman and they make something come out of her nose. It's not very flattering. So this is not the most flattering picture I could find, but I wanted to show something that I haven't shown before from the Suicide Squad, which is to be released later this year. I believe in August, I'm not sure. But I don't know what that's supposed to be. I don't think it's blood because it's black or something. It could be something like what happened with the Penguin in Batman Returns. I don't know. It's got me very curious. Okay, the Suicide Squad will feature a lot of big names from the DC universe, along with plenty of obscure ones, but an argument could definitely be made that Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is the most noteworthy member of Task Force X, especially as she already has a history in the DCU, appearing in Suicide Squad and Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. Talking to Total Film, Margot Robbie shared her thoughts on where she thinks Harley fits into this movie. One of the first things I said to James was, meaning James Gunn, I think Harley is a catalyst of chaos. She's not necessarily your narrative center. And sometimes it's great when plot points can rest on other characters' shoulders and she can be the thing that erupts a whole sequence of events. That's something I felt he agreed with based on what I was reading in the script. I would agree with that. I think that's kind of the problem with trying to make Harley the focus of a film, as we've seen in Birds of Prey. It could go very bad if they don't do it right, and arguably they really didn't do it right in Birds of Prey. Let's see. In terms of how she's changed, it's just always interesting to explore what characteristics different directors gravitate towards from the character. The common denominator is the source material, which is what I always built the character off anyway. Then she evolves in different ways under different people's direction. And that's good to hear that she's trying to keep it to the source material. And I always felt that she was very accurate to the source material in To the most part, in the most part. It's already been an interesting journey for Harley Quinn in the DCEU, and it sounds like the Suicide Squad will definitely build on the events of her last 2 appearances. Where that leaves her remains to be seen, but the studio is bound to have more plans for the Joker's former sidekick moving forward. I'd like to see her go back to being the Joker's sidekick, because we really didn't get an accurate representation of that relationship. And we barely saw her interact with Batman, let alone the Joker. So I really hope they stop trying to push her in these other directions and let us have at least one film that explores her tumultuous relationship with the Joker and, see her interact with Batman, more than in a superficial extent. But yeah, I'm probably, again, I'm not really a big fan of superhero films being rated R. So again, I probably won't be seeing this one in the theaters. I don't know, but let me know what you think in the comments below for the Suicide Squad and what you think should be in the future for Harley Quinn, the Margot Robbie version from the MCU. All right, this is a story, I got to tell you, this one shocked me when I heard this one. So if you're out there and you're not sitting down, please sit down for this story, because this one is shocking. I was shocked. Ready? All right. It appears that Noah, I don't know if I can pronounce his name correctly here, Noah Centino is not going to play He-Man in the new Masters of the Universe film. Something always holds up a Masters of the Universe film. I don't understand it. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe have such a great, rich legacy, great storylines, great characters. They can't get this movie off the ground for love or money. It took Canon Films in the 80s to scrape together some money that they siphoned off the Superman 4 budget. That's a true story. In order to make Masters of the Universe the first time in the 80s. And of course, it was a low budget affair, but I liked it. For what it was good. It was good Masters of the Universe for what it was at its time. I think Frank Langella really carried the picture. And of course, Dolph Lundgren, I think it was his sophomore film, right? I think he just came off Rocky IV. So, he did a good job considering that he didn't have a ton of acting experience. So I'll never badmouth Masters of the Universe film, but it's beyond time that we get a remake, or, a reboot, so to speak, of the franchise. They thought it was going to happen under Noah Centino, I guess is how you pronounce his name, but unfortunately it's not to be. Believe it or not, it's been over 2 years since we heard that Sony Pictures cast Noah Centino as He-Man in a live-action Masters of the Universe reboot. Since then, the actor has landed a leading role in Black Adam as Atom Smasher. Collider is now reporting he has exited the project. Again, color me shocked. Shocked and rocked. Aaron and Adam Nee remain attached to write and direct the movie, which has been through a number of screenplays over the years. David S. Goyer, Christopher Yost, and Matt Holloway and Art Markham have all taken a crack at the script. He is no longer attached to the project, a representative of Centino told the site, declining to reveal any specifics about what led Centino moving on from playing He-Man. Fans of the character remain excited for the Masters of the Universe reboot, but it really doesn't appear to be a priority for Sony, given how slowly it's moving along. There's no denying that this is a property that could be tough to get right in live action. Centino's busy schedule could certainly be an issue, as he's currently working on Black Adam and will then move on to a couple of big projects on Netflix, including a movie based on the recent madness surrounding GameStop's stock prices and a CIA spy thriller TV series from Doug Liman. So, what do you think about that? You looking forward to Masters of the Universe reboot? Do you think it'll ever happen? Do you think this is basically a pipe dream that... I don't know what to tell you. I'm a kid from the 80s. There are so many great untapped properties from the 80s that they just can't get off the ground. I want to see a Voltron movie. I want to see a Masters of the Universe movie. I want to see I was never a big fan of Thundercats, but let's get a Thundercats movie going finally. Please. The only thing we had was Transformers, and to be honest, I wasn't really too deep into that as a kid. And we had G.I. Joe, which, I don't know, it had various levels of success. They're going to try the G.I. Joe reboot this year with Snake Eyes, which, again, seems like it's fundamentally changing the character, so I don't know whether to be excited about that or not, but anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below about Masters of the Universe. Okay, next up, we have info regarding the CW's lineup and what that means to you. All right, Stargirl. Every time I hear the name Stargirl, I got to sing the David Bowie Starman. There's a Starman. I don't know. I'll spare you the song. Okay, Stargirl Season 2 gets an August premiere date, while Supergirl, boy, that's a tongue twister. Supergirl is set to air final episodes. Following a stellar freshman outing, the CW has finally announced that Stargirl, which stars Brett Bessinger in the title role, will return for its eagerly awaited second season on Tuesday, August 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where it will be paired with the back half of Superman and Lois Season 1. Additionally, the network has set a return date for Kara Danvers' last flight, with Supergirl set to fly back onto our screens for its final 13 episodes on Tuesday, August 24th, which very likely sets the stage for the series finale to air on November 16th. Neither series will be back until mid-August. There will be still plenty of DC Comics-based adventures on your television this summer, with Superman and Lois coming back May 18th, and DC's Legends of Tomorrow set to return this coming Sunday, with the second half of the season coming July 11th after a brief hiatus. In other news, Walker, Texas Rangers back July 15th, and Riverdale returns with the rest of Season 5 August 11th. No word on whether the DC TV slate will resume a normal schedule starting this fall, but with production expected to be ongoing throughout the summer, it seems quite possible that both The Flash and Superman and Lois could return for their respective 8th and 2nd seasons much sooner than expected. All right, so that's good. So they're going to work during the summer as well as airing these shows during the summer so they can be ready for the fall. That's good to hear. But let me know, what do you think about Stargirl? I thought the first season was spectacular. I think the first few episodes were pretty rocky, and I was thinking, I don't know. But they made a believer out of me. It was a very fun show. And I'm very afraid, I would say terrified, that the CW is going to ruin it, like they pretty much ruin everything else they touch. With the virtue signaling, with the SJW politics, they're just bound to ruin it. What it was in its first season was basically story first, character first, superheroes first, and then everything else came at not even secondary, third, maybe fourth. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. Of course, Supergirl, just to give a brief update on these shows, because I've been watching them. The final season, Melissa Benoist, I always say, fantastic Supergirl actress. I just love her in the role. Sad to see the show going. I think they've made improvements to the show somewhat the past 2 seasons, this season and last season, but once again, it's like too little too late. They really squandered the goodwill that the character engendered. I don't know why they couldn't get it right, but again, the virtue signaling is more important to these people than producing good content and quality stories. But again, like I said, I really like what John Cryer is doing as Lex Luthor. I'm enjoying this season so far. It's not been bad. Of course, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on that betrays the fact that it's really kind of trying to catch up with Melissa Benoist's pregnancy, and of course the problems facing shooting in the current climate. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you looking forward to the rest of the slate of, what are we calling this, Arrowverse shows still, I suppose? Legends coming back, Black Lightning finishing up this year, Supergirl finishing up this year, Superman and Lois off to a, I don't know, kind of a blasé start. The Flash kind of doing what the Flash always does. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And let's take a look at, is this our final story already? Oh no, we got one more story here. We got Morbius. Morbius is changing its release date once again. Not going too far away this time from the projected date. After a series of delays throughout last year due to the ongoing Modelo crisis, Sony has decided to move back Daniel Espinosa's Morbius one more week, this time from January 21st to January 28th, 2022. However, unlike the previous postponements this time, it's for good reason, as the film has officially been confirmed for an IMAX release, which should make a notable difference at the global box office come January. Morbius will now open opposite Universal Blumhouse's The Black Phone, which has Scott Derrickson directing and Ethan Hawke starring. The move also creates some much-needed space away from the massive January 14th logjam that is currently slated to see Universal's 355 starring Jessica Chastain and Penelope Cruz, 20th Century Studios' Deepwater starring Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas, Paramount's Scream starring Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox, Warner Brothers' Sesame Street starring Anne Hathaway and Chance the Rapper. I didn't know that one. Sesame Street? They're doing another movie? I just recently was starting to look up the original Sesame Street movie. This is a coincidence, by the way, but I was looking it up, of course, because as I mentioned earlier, my nephew, and I want to expose him to some classic good stuff, because a lot of stuff out there today now is garbage. So I looked up the old Sesame Street movie. I didn't see the whole movie because I was just looking at clips because I haven't seen it obviously since whenever it came out, 1985 or whenever, when I was a kid. It looks like it's surprisingly good, and it looks like you couldn't get away with half the stuff that's in it today. I mean, it's like the suggestion that there's a social worker that Big Bird is trying to run away from, that's trying to put him into a better home because, of course, it takes a village, and the government knows better than the family, and so on and so forth. These themes of then we have like a toddler, basically. What is Big Bird supposed to be, like 7 years old? On the lam, running away by himself, and he's captured by two carnival owners or something. I mean, it's like you couldn't make that movie today. That's when you can make something as simple as Sesame Street with guts, I don't know. I digress. But anyway, yeah, that was a good movie. I'm looking forward to, I'm going to see if I can pick it up and show it to my nephew. All right, I digress. Here we go. Back to the copy. Let's see. The upcoming Spider-Man spinoff stars Academy Award winner Jared Leto in the title role, with a supporting cast that contains Matt Smith, Adria Arjona, Jared Harris, Al Madrigal, Tyrese Gibson, and Michael Keaton as the Vulture. That's the one that's what really, they know how to sort of, they know how to get my goat, as it were, I guess. I see Michael Keaton in that trailer, and it turns the whole game around for me. It's like, what's going on here? I think I want to see this. Because Morbius is not really the most captivating character for me anyway. I mean, you could just make this a vampire movie, take the name and some of the the visuals away, and it could be just another vampire flick. But you put Michael Keaton in as the Vulture, and then you kind of play to the crowd that, okay, yeah, he's the Spider-Man villain we all know and love. I might see it. I don't know. I'm getting to the point where it's like these films are not precious to me anymore. It's like when the MCU started, and it was really exciting, and it was like, oh man, they're doing justice to Iron Man, they're doing justice to Captain America, they're doing justice to Thor. There was a great response. There was like, yeah, make mine Marvel. Nowadays, though, it's like, yeah, is this just another cash in where they're trying to get the R-rated bucks, or they're trying to get the Sony's trying to eke out its own little living off of Spider-Man's B cast or whatever. It's like, I don't need to see all these movies anymore. I mean, maybe I'll pick them up on DVD if it strikes me. That's like all the stuff that's going on with Disney Plus. I really don't care. And I have like, I have this desire to watch this stuff, but it's like, do I really want to pay Disney to see this stuff? You know what I mean? But, it is what it is. And I think at some point I am going to take the plunge and check out these shows. I mean, I don't know. Just for the sake of it, is it worth it? I don't know. But let me know what you think about the Morbius film. Are you interested in Morbius? Do you think this is going to turn out to be something interesting? Is it going to lead to something even more interesting? I guess is probably the question. All right, so now we come to our final story of the night. Yes, our final story, the cover story, I guess. This is another thing. Now, am I going to get HBO Max just for the Green Lantern series? Probably not. I don't know. It's going to depend if they really wow me with some trailers or something. We'll see. But Green Lantern has found their Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner was always a fun character in the comics because he was constantly, he's perpetually ticked off. You know what I mean? He's a guy that just like, he didn't give a hoot about anything. He just like marched to his own drummer, and then like it would take somebody like Batman to slap him down and be like, hey, get over yourself, bud. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's all I know about Guy Gardner, really. I mean, I was never too deep into the Green Lantern comics of that period, anyway. At that point, I was mostly still familiar with Green Lantern from Justice League and the interactions between the other characters. Let's see. Warner Brothers Television has announced that two-time Emmy nominee Finn Wittrock from American Horror Story and Ratched has been cast in the lead role of Guy Gardner in HBO Max's upcoming Green Lantern live-action series. Now, doesn't J.J. Abrams have something to do with this? I don't know. I'm scared. He'll be one of many Green Lanterns to appear in the series, with the streamer describing his character as, quote-unquote, a hulking mass of masculinity and as rendered in the comics, an embodiment of 1980s hyper-patriotism. And yet Guy is somehow likable. That gives me pause. Doesn't that kind of give you pause? I mean, is that what they're kind of going to do here? They're going to politicize this thing? A hulking mass of masculinity. Does that mean he's going to be toxically masculine, Toxic masculinity on display. 80s hyper-patriotism. Again, I haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but is he going to be one of those characters like I guess that other U.S. agent was supposed to be in Falcon and Winter Soldier? I don't know. And yet Guy is somehow likable. Well, at least they're trying to do that. Now, this guy, I don't know this guy from Adam, quite honestly. He kind of has the look about him that maybe he could play this character if they give him the Mo Howard haircut that Guy always sports, and, bleach his hair orange or whatever color you want to call that. I could see it, I guess. I could see this guy doing it, but I've never seen him act, so that it's in the lap of the gods, I guess. The show's official synopsis reads, Green Lantern reinvents the classic DC property through a story spanning decades and galaxies, beginning on Earth in 1941. With the very first Green Lantern, the secretly gay, they changed that, of course, by the way, because he really wasn't gay in the comics, FBI agent Alan Scott, and in 1984 with cocky alpha male Guy Gardner and half-alien Bree Jarta. All right, so they're going to go spanning the decades. This is what I don't like about this. So what does this mean? That means we're going to have a 1980s Green Lantern episode. We're going to have a 1940s Green Lantern episode. We're going to have a 1990s. Just do it modern day. Why are we going to go playing games like this for? I don't get it. Back to the copy. They'll be joined by a multitude of other lanterns, from comic book favorites to never-before-seen heroes. With a production start date on the second season of Netflix Ratched yet to be determined, executive producer Greg Berlanti was able to reach out to Ryan Murphy, who agreed to allow Wittrock to prioritize Green Lantern, which is expected to begin filming later this year. The Hollywood Reporter notes that casting for Alan Scott is also expected to be announced shortly, possibly even before the end of the business day. So hang tight as Berlanti slowly but surely starts to unravel the mysteries of the most expensive DC series he's ever produced. In addition to Berlanti, both Seth Grahame-Smith and Mark Guggenheim are attached as writers. So again, this gives me pause. I mean, Greg Berlanti, now you know why they're doing the Alan Scott Green Lantern, because of course all the CW Warner Brothers shows are probably 85% being conservative, 85% LGBTQ. And you got Mark Guggenheim, of course, sort of cut his teeth on the Arrow series, which, again, had its moments of promise, but they caved to a lot of soap opera demands of the viewers. Seth Grahame-Smith, his name is familiar to me, but I'm not sure. So we'll have to see how this goes. Again, nothing about this seems overly enthusiastic to me. I mean, I just read this and hope for the best. I mean, I can't get too overly enthusiastic about it, but I've long waited to see Green Lantern come back. I think we talked about this not long ago. They should have just got Ryan Reynolds back. They should have just made a sequel. They should have learned from their mistakes, cut out all the stuff that was, not conducive to a good character or a good series or whatever, and just continued on from there. But no, now they're still they're aiming at the stars and hoping they're going to hit something. Of course, there's no mention here of John Diggle, which, David Ramsey's going to be involved in the, I don't think there's a crossover, but he's involved in all the episodes of the series in some haphazard way. He's going to be involved in all of them, except I think maybe Legends, where he's going to direct an episode. I can't remember. I can't be sure about that. But again, I don't think he's involved in this as well, or if he is, they're keeping it under wraps. All right, so that's going to do it. That's going to do it for yet another the show. We grew up maybe, I don't know. I think it's just the quality of the stuff that they're putting out nowadays. It's like when they started with the MCU, they were going straight from the page. They were going straight from the classic versions of the character, the classic versions of Captain America and this and that. And now they're just like going to mantle passings. And it's like, in my opinion, they should have just carried on with different actors in the roles. Either that, or you just put the characters on the shelf and say, well, he's out of action, and until he comes back. They did that in the comics many a time, but they're just not hitting that touchdown anymore with these films, I think. And a lot of it is also they're still trying for relevance in this world. We're trying to get like R-rated films and stuff like that. You don't want to cut out your audience. The main audience for superheroes was always the kids, the teenagers and stuff. When you're shooting too much for these films with some kind of social, political significance, you're cutting out a lot of the fun and a lot of your demographic. You're right. Of course I'm right. I'm always right. Well, most of the time anyway, we'll say. All right, so thank you once again, Marquise. Thank you, Hunter Iggy, for showing up to the stream. Always appreciated. And, of course, to all my viewers, whether you watch it live or whether you watch it on rebroadcast, I love you madly, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you share and subscribe if you are not quite subscribed as of yet. I don't know what you're waiting for, but I've gotten so many subs lately. I want to thank them as well. Again, I don't know the names of a lot of these subs, but we're up now to 215 subs, so thank you if you're a new subscriber and you're checking us out one of the first times. Thank you so very much. So, once again, until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.